Wes, thank you very much for being on the Talking Silkworm podcast today. Really appreciate your time because I know it's very early for you. We are on opposite sides of the world.
Yeah, that's right. Early in the morning for me, 6 a.m. So, but I enjoy starting early in the day, so that's good. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
I've been looking forward to having you on the show because a key of what you work on is human connection. For marketing, for brand building, for all these items, human connection. We are in an era where everybody speaks about AI, AI, AI. But what about what makes us relate to each other? Yes. What makes business happen? That's not the
Yeah.
AI thing, it's the human connection. Before we jump into that, tell us a little bit of your background and how you got into branding and marketing through human connection.
Yeah. So, well, I studied graphic design multimedia at uni back in the day. When I was selecting my course, website design development wasn't really a thing. It was the late 90s. And so I did that, got my first job in a marketing company in Sydney, and they won an award. They won a project to build a website, and they said, "Well, right, you're the young guy. You better learn how to build that." So they gave me plenty of time to build that site. So I became their web guy, and from there, kind of morphed into um, just they're purely their web design person and a bit of graphic design. But when I started my own business, I did a bit of graphic design, a bit of website design, but all my best work was website design. So I focused in on that. And then I found even further that even my best website clients were mostly in the trades and construction industry. So I sort of focused in on that. So that's kind of how I got to the marketing and the website design and my own business. But I mean, the human element, I've always been a relational person. So I like people and I like connecting and all that kind of stuff. But with the rise of AI, that's presented a whole bunch of challenges and what we need to serve our clients in has changed somewhat in recent years.
Yeah, and I love that you come from what is apparently and fully offline type of industry, which is construction. Like you are not gonna figure out a construction plan over Zoom, or like you're not gonna get something built via sharing a link on Slack or Dropbox. But I think that makes it evident for everybody else that first, not all businesses happen online, because when you work online, you think everything happens online, but not everything happens online. There is a lot of physical stuff still going on. And
Yeah.
two, this physical activity is the one that is potentially the least affected, or is going to be the least affected by AI changes in the next 10 years.
Yeah, well, that's right. So if the practical building and so on of construction is that's our clientele. So it's a good clientele to have because their industries are less vulnerable in the short term for AI to take them over completely. Now there are changes. There is tech to build houses and to digitally print houses and a whole bunch of things. And maybe one day robots will be able to pick up a hammer and knock in a nail and those sorts of things. But for my target market, it feels like it's a fair way off. So it's good in that regard. And I guess that's what drew me to them as a target market. So I'm a web designer. I do SEO. We're calling it search everywhere optimization. So we're serving those people, are really practical, hands-on people, and just helping to humanize their brands because everyone's kind of jumping straight on, say, ChatGPT, for example, and publishing content to their website, just, allowing the tools to write the content for them. But it may not be a great fit for their brand. It's not authentically them. It's just the average of what everybody else is saying and then published into a piece on their website. So people take shortcuts, which can cause more harm than good for a personal brand, if it's that, or a company brand as well. So getting some of the foundational keys in place so people don't make horrible mistakes is really important. That's where we're helping clients a lot these days.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, as someone who consumes content on the internet, I was thinking of this like very silly quote. It's gonna be very silly, Wes. I don't know if you like the band Queen. They have this song
Oh,
Bohemian
yes.
Rhapsody that start. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just change it a bit. Is this a real life? Is it just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from AI. because
Mm,
everything is AI. And as
yeah.
someone who consumes content on the internet, if I see a brand posting AI generated content or something that is evidently AI generated content online, that makes me lose trust.
Yeah, 100%.
Makes me
That's
lose
so true.
trust.
You hear it all the time. And even with my kids, they go, if they see an image or a video on their socials, they look, that's AI. So that immediately it's devalued. So
Yeah.
that's really where we're going. So initially, kind of it was kind of fun because when we first saw these things, we go, wow, that video was created by AI or the piece of content. It was kind of unique. But now we just see it all the time so much. There's not that immediate excitement anymore. I mean, it is when there's new tools that come out and do something amazing. That's um, exciting from a tech point of view, but it doesn't necessarily do anything for the business. So
Hmm.
that's the and it's the core foundation of why someone might be publishing from a business perspective to grow their business, get their message out there, and these things are eroded when we put the tools first and the message second. We've really got to make sure our message, our core message, and our uniqueness, our authenticity shines through no matter what medium or what platform or what tools we're using. And that needs to be our voice, so the way in which we communicate, the things we say, in the way in which we say it, but also our message needs to be really unique as well. So because there's such an it's so easy just to publish, as I said before, write something and publish it, but it's just average. It's just the pieces of the puzzle that are uniquely you, that the what your business does better than anybody else, or what makes it unique, what values you personally hold as a brand. They're the key things that you need to be communicating, because there's just so much noise out there. Anything that can set you apart is really the gold, I believe.
Hmm. Okay. Would you please expand a little bit more on that? Like how, like, okay, why? Why does human connection create that stronger bond in comparison to an AI tool?
Yeah, so people just don't believe, if it's just produced through AI, people realize no one that's just no one's actually put any thought into it, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, people will even wonder, has anyone even read this before it's been published? It just has no value whatsoever. And it's just so noisy out there, particularly if it's something that you're sharing on social platforms, because people just mass produce content after content, and it's out there, and you only see it a second. You've only got a moment to gather, capture someone's thoughts. So it's just all bland. But the uniqueness in a human, even the vulnerability in humanity, I believe is going to be um, of value, because there are our own personal stories, our failures and our successes off the back of those. These stories of what we've been through, or what a client's been through, and what they've experienced as a result. They're uniquely our stories, and humans have always connected over storytelling. We've always engaged with in communities, in tribes, people. And people are kind of messy and vulnerable, and they're not perfect. They're not an AI robot, and there's beauty in that. So I think that's where you can set yourself apart, just by being authentically you, even if it's not 100% polished. I think there's going to be value in it. It's kind of like art. Like you see a beautiful artwork. It's so that they're artists, and the artist, and they're famous, and they painted that picture themselves. There's tremendous value on that, because it's done by an artist, and we like the backstory. We like to know who did it and where they were from, and their part of their backstory. That all places value on the piece of art. But if the art is just produced out of a computer, well, what's the value? There's no value, intrinsic value in that, because yes, the technology is exciting, but the value of the human connection is what makes us unique. So I think that's the real key, to make sure you don't lose that in the AI. Use AI as a tool, but don't let the AI dictate what your message is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of the topics, because the idea here is not to bash AI. I think we all use it. It is here to
Yeah,
stay. It is very useful, makes your life easier. So the idea is not to bash it, but to use it critically. Yes, just not go
yeah,
blindly
yeah.
and I try to do everything ads tell you to do, for example, sometimes, because
Yeah.
does what happens. Um, what are your thoughts on, because I've seen this a lot recently, particularly in short form video, is what are your thoughts on using AI generated avatars and voice clones? Yeah, maybe you
Yeah.
have a CEO, you have a marketing person, maybe the marketing person is unavailable, so they use their image and voice to create a piece of video. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I suppose when it gets, maybe one day it'll get so realistic and close, we won't even be able to realize it's not the authentic person. And that's kind of a frightening place to be in. Exciting and frightening at the same time, so that's where the tech is taking us. Um, in the early days, I experimented with some avatar videos and stuff like that, just for fun, and because I need to understand the tools because we're using them in our own business, but we're also helping clients with their marketing. So I think I think it's always going to, as long as it's detected that it's uh, AI, it's going to have less trust in it. So when the deep fakes are created and you can create the CEO and he can have him say whatever you want him to say, it's a scary place to be in the world, because that means anyone can have anybody say anything. I don't know where that all goes. So um, it's an interesting place to be. I use AI in ways. I have a phone, AI receptionist answer our business phone, but it introduces itself. Hey, I'm Emily, AI assistant for Uplift 360. How can I help you? And it'll guide people through to make a booking straight into our calendar, which is fantastic, because we get so many phone calls. And the way I looked at that tech is it's kind of replacing the, hey, press one if you need accounts, press two if you need blah blah blah.
Yeah,
It's
I hate those
it's
menus.
yeah. So it's a step up from that, and I did it more of as an experiment, because I want to be on the cutting edge of some of these things. So I implemented it, and I was interested to see how people would engage with it, and um, if there was resistance, and because it records the call, so you can kind of gauge what the outcomes are. And it seemed as though people people didn't necessarily like it, but they weren't resistant of it. So they still booked meetings. They still requested the information that they needed. It did a great job in filtering out all the telemarketing. We get most of the people calling the business line a telemarketer. So it just got rid of all of that, which is a great outcome. But the goal is the human connection. So the goal is, let's get them booked into the calendar with the right person to have that human interaction and conversation. So not just to automate everything. Once they're talking to a real human, people buy from people at the end of the day in my industry. So and a lot of industries. So because it's a service based business. So that human connection is the goal. It's just a matter of how we get to that point. Some of the tech is helpful.
Okay, this is a great segue to the next question, which is where is that balance? Because
Yeah,
and I'm sure you've been there because you run a business. Like, let's think, for example, in terms of marketing and humanizing a brand. You get so much pressure because you have so many ads about different AI tools. You have like all these shiny objects around you, and you feel like if you don't implement them, then you're falling behind. Um, which you're not actually. But where's that middle point where I can say, okay, this is a healthy balance between being authentic and using my own voice and my own image and humanizing my brand, and using AI to make things easier for the whole process of marketing my my
yeah,
my, my brand.
yeah. So the way I encourage clients to use it, firstly, there's a couple of things. So we're writing lots of content on behalf of the client using AI, um, but we want it to be uniquely their message. So the message needs to be uniquely yours, but the way in which you produce it at mass, I think the AI tools can be helpful. to edit things down to the appropriate platforms and so on. For example, we've got a client who he hired us for search engine optimization. We're calling it search everywhere optimization these days because it's not just Google. It's people are finding you on ChatGPT and the like. But he was finding it difficult even to tell us precisely what he did because he's just not like he's a practical guy. He's in the industries we serve, the hands-on people. They're not really big on talking lots, and his business is kind of unique. So the way we got around it was we got him to just like video some of the projects he was working on as he was working on them. They were crude videos that like he's swearing in there and all sorts of stuff, and they were really, really rough videos. But it gave us an understanding of what he does. So from that, we could use a transcript and produce content that's polished. It says exactly what he does. So we now understand what he does. So firstly, he's got the video and he publishes them on YouTube. He could publish them elsewhere as well. He could make reels out of them. He's not, but he could have, but he's got them on YouTube. And for his clientele, they're really authentic because it's him talking and him swearing. And that's the person you're going to deal with in that company. But we use that and produce blog articles. So it's tidying up his message because it'll jump around. It's just him thinking. But the AI tools will help to distill it down into a sequence of thoughts that makes sense. But we make sure we write it in his authentic voice. So we've got really detailed prompts to train the AI. So it's written in a style that matches who he is as a business and brand. So he does the video. We do the blog article based on that video. It's in his voice and brand. And he's naturally saying the things that are helpful for his business. He's talking about the locations he works in. He's talking about the service offering. He's talking about the outcome that he's achieving for the client. All these things that are important, but we're able to syndicate that message across platforms. Now, from the blog post, his next step, and he hasn't done it quite yet, but he wants to get engaged with other social platforms. So he'll take that blog post and he'll be able to use AI to distill it down into chunks, because the blog is quite long, into chunks that are suitable for social media. So it's his genuinely unique message across all platforms, but it's enhanced by the AI tools to syndicate that one message across many platforms. So he's streamlining things, and it's all his content's going to be uniquely him because it's his business is unique, and he's talking about the things that matter most to him. So it's getting that balance, the tension of using the tool but not letting the tool dictate what you say. You have to be really clear on what you want to say as a starting point before you jump onto the tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the core, it's his video, his image, his voice, his way of communicating that sets the basis for how the whole message or the set of network of messages are created.
Yeah, 100%. So it's really powerful to set up little systems like that are repeatable, and you can have other team members in your business or outsource to people to do elements. So that way, because with a bigger company, you've got so many people trying to do various aspects of what you're doing. But to create consistency, I think the AI tools are really helpful for that because it's setting in foundations, the rules and the frameworks that in which you want to communicate as a brand. So it's really good from that perspective.
That's great. And Wes, I'm thinking, what will the opposite scenario look like? Like, what will it be like if I were not using AI properly? If I were if I were letting AI dictate the content, like what will that look like? Because maybe, and I'm sure some
Yeah.
of the listeners are gonna find out, oh, I'm making a mistake here. Like this is something I should not put in the hands of AI. This is something I should do myself instead, or maybe complement my skills with AI.
Yeah. So the real danger is the message is not genuinely yours. So it's just the average sum total of what everyone else has already said. So it's adding no value to the world. And there's a real resistance that's growing for AI driven content. So people really dislike it when they know it's just AI because it almost feels like it's a waste of your time when you're seeing this stuff because you know it's not authentic. So there's the real resistance. So there's potential to really hurt brands more than benefit them. So I would say, um, rather than just produce content at mass because you can, um, the produce quality content that's uniquely yours. If you don't use AI at all, you potentially could. I think that's more the question. There's lots of industries that are going to be vulnerable. So many career paths are going to be transformed. You need to at least get started if you're kind of not that way inclined. I think you really do need to start to engage and connect with AI, just as a person, just as your own activities, just so you kind of have a sense of where things might go for your career path and industry. Because I mean, we're in Australia, we're having lots of people made redundant in their career paths, simply because their jobs are no longer viable because AI can do it for them. So I think we all need to be educated and think about, okay, this is the likely outcome with the trajectory of where everything's going. What does my career look like in the future, in the near future? I'm not talking about lots of years away. I'm talking about in a year or two.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Or even
yeah,
less, maybe 6 months from now.
yeah. And this is the interesting thing too with AI. And we're talking about AI, no one's really a genuine expert. Even for me to talk about this, we're doing it day in, day out for clients, but because it's moving so fast, the tools and tech and what we're doing right now, they're going to be different even tomorrow. So, no one knows all the answers. Even the people who have created this stuff, they're not even precisely sure how it works oftentimes. It's kind of learning on itself. So it's an exciting and terrifying time. But I'm just sticking to the true core values of me. I'm a relational person. I like people. I like engaging with people. That's why I started my business, so I can have client facing interactions. I like the creative. So there's a real pushback in the creative spaces because we were watching it on 60 Minutes 2 nights ago, Sunday night. That some of the creative people in Australia, particularly a singer, she was just appalled that people can rip off her voice singing and make songs in her style, and it sounds for me it sounded identical. For her, she knew it wasn't herself, but I mean, where does that leave the creatives in the world? So it's really interesting times.
Yeah. There's gonna be a point, I'm sure, where clients, no, artists are gonna license their image and voice, and AI is just gonna do the music video, for example. I'm
Yeah,
sure. I'm sure there's gonna be some pushback, but I'm sure there's gonna be that artist who is gonna allow that, and like, okay, instead of having me act on the film, just use an AI version of me, or just use the voice
yeah.
version of me for that.
Yeah, I know the special effects. You won't need a stunt double and that sort of thing, will you? So, um, I'm just thinking about that. So I like some of the old music. I'm 47, so Nirvana. I really like Nirvana. So you can anticipate, music coming out for bands that are no longer, the singers long gone. So that'll be interesting. I think some of that, just to think about Nirvana, and back in that time, kind of the appeal was, they called it grunge, but it was a pushback on the perfection of where music was going. It was rough and dirty and sort of tangible, and it kind of felt like how kids of the time were feeling. I wonder if we get to that point again. So a bit of a pushback of the perfection of AI, and more of an art, like, I don't know what it looks like or how it translates into a business context, but whether there'll be sort of this pushback resistance art kind of movement to AI. I think there might be. I just don't know what it looks like yet.
Yeah. Okay. This is. I was thinking something like that. I think was maybe some of the pushback is gonna be that face-to-face interactions are gonna gain a lot more value than they have now.
Yeah.
A lot more, like
Yeah.
networking in person, going to events, congresses, meetings, traveling. Meeting people
Yeah.
physically is going to be more valuable because you know that you're interacting with a real person. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I hope so because they're the things I enjoy. I mean, I've always been big on networking, going to events and so on. And um, a couple of years back, I set up my own little networking event. Which was totally a social. It was for business people, but it was totally social. Down at the wine bar, which is just downstairs here, which is handy for me. So, um, and just connecting and be relating, and we weren't necessarily talking about business all the time. We were just talking about our lives and having fun. And I think those things people are probably going to eventually miss in a business context because you jump on a Zoom call and you have that. It's kind of human, but it's still behind a screen. So, but really get engaging in person. I really enjoy, and I think there's going to be a lot of need for that, a desire for that sort of thing. I hope so. I enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so as well. I hope so as well. Um, and on the same note, and I would like to dive a little bit deeper into your expertise in the construction industry. That is like a very physical type of industry, and I'm
Yeah.
sure, based on what we just talked about, which was like the physical meeting people, what are some lessons, or what are some strategies, or what are like some core values and concepts from the construction industry that can be transferred into online businesses, for example, that can help humanize our brands and build those more authentic connections with peers or with clients or with other people in our industry?
Yeah, so I really enjoy working with construction people and it's construction businesses, and it's really different working with the owner who worked his way up. He's been on the tools. He's very practical, pragmatic. He or she. Um, that that physical, tangible element of who they are, just by the nature of what they do, I really enjoy it. But also in those companies, you're often working with a marketing manager or someone who's often younger and hasn't worked on the tools. So they're completely different personalities and mindsets, and the way in which they want to engage with the world is completely different. So the way in which a young marketing manager is just maybe they're fresh out of uni and they're really cutting edge on AI and all that kind of stuff. They're really wanting to be progressive and use all the tools to the greatest of their abilities. But the owner is still wanting to engage. I met with a client, a hopeful client, a prospective business no, late last week, and he was just saying how he, they could take orders online. They don't do many orders, but he likes the phone interaction because he gets to speak to the client, take the order of what it is, and transport it. And he's building those personal relationships just through process. So that was a really curious thing. I really admired his approach. So he's engaging his community because they're speaking each week or each month or whatever the ordering process is for. He's got a product um, that needs to be shipped out to various locations. So I thought, well, that there's real value in that. But then the younger marketing guy, he was like, no, let's just get the orders done online, and then we don't have to talk to anybody, and we can just set them up on subscription, and it's hands free, and we just ship it out, and we don't have to deal with clients anymore. So I saw the value in both. And so we've got to come up with some solutions that appeal to both. So there's going to be clients for them that don't really want to have to ring every week and order. But there's clients that love that. So finding the balance in this sort of landscape is really fun. So um, I really value the hands-on practical people, and the way in which that particular client I'm mentioning, or hopeful client, um, connects and puts value on the connection with the client. So I think there's real value in that element too. I can learn from that sort of thing too.
That's great to hear. So I think one important lesson from what you just said is there is no universal answer to that. Like there's no one answer to this. It is going to depend on how you feel about AI, how you feel about that human connection, and how your or who makes up your team, right? Because you might have experts in marketing or experts in design or experts in other area, but maybe there's like a generation gap, and they would like to do things in a different way, which might be very effective and it might be very very good for the business, even if you don't agree with their methods 100%.
Yeah, it's always about balance, and it's always about the end client as well. What's in their best interest? So, how do they want to engage with your business? You'll, if you're really genuinely, authentically yourself, you'll attract clients that appreciate and value that. So there'll be a natural alignment in that. So you can never try and engage with something that just isn't that is not part of, doesn't marry up to your core values as a brand. So of it, oftentimes with a business, the values of the brand, the company, are set by the founder. So they're the founder's personal values that have manifest into a company. So it's really important to understand that founder, if that, it might be multi-generational. So whoever's the current person operating the business, who's the, build it upon on their personal values, is a really important thing, I think.
Okay, I have a final question, Wes, which is, if there is something a person like I don't know what to do, because like there is so much noise online about AI, about tools, about okay, use AI for everything, and then I get information. Oh, no, don't use AI for everything. Use human connection instead. Like, what is a step I can take to get a little bit more clarity in terms of how I can market my brand, humanize my brand, and keep my authenticity without necessarily discarding one option or the other, AI or face to face interaction, for example?
Yeah. So I would say the most important thing that you can do before you decide to use what tools you choose to use is to really bed down exactly your brand voice. So the way in which you communicate, a style guide, a set of values, and be really clear and specific in that document. So everybody is on the same page with that. So really, really take the time to invest in getting that absolutely rock solid. So it's really clearly aligned to who you are. Once you've got that document, you can use, so that's the voice, but also the message. So the core message, oftentimes we'll talk to clients about, it's hard for them to communicate what makes them unique. But once you start to ask questions about what frustrates you about your industry, so they might start saying, well, everybody else does it this way, but we do it this way because that way's terrible. Or all the clients complain about, other companies in our industry because of blah, blah, blah. Well, they're just highlighting to us exactly what their values are, because it's the opposite to whatever they say their frustrations are. So to bed those down into documented form, so to really think clearly about your business and brand, document it so it's really specific. And from that tool, you can use that as a foundational starting point for anything you produce through an AI platform, if it's content marketing. But then also think about any tools you choose to introduce, whether it be a voice receptionist or whatever the case may be. Go, right, is this congruent with this document? This is our pillars of value of what we believe in. Is this congruent? Yes, no. If it's not, discard it. If it is, if it can be used in a certain way, then everything will be consistent. So I think that's the goal. And no matter what the tools are in the future, you've got the pillars in place to make a decision moving forward.
That's great. That's great. All right, Wes, like there is so much more I would like to ask you, but this is a very wide topic. There is so much to talk about. Actually, before recording, I was telling you I had like 25 questions on my list. I had to cut them down like to 12. So I know there is a lot more listeners who want to learn in terms of how to humanize their brand, how to market in a way, how to market their business in a way that is more authentic. If they want to learn more about it, where can they find you? Where can they follow you? to get more
Yeah, well,
information?
yeah, thanks. So the easiest way is to jump on our website, uplift360.com.au. We're Australian, so the .au. From there, you'll find social media down in the at the bottom of the website. Even my personal LinkedIn, I connect with anyone on LinkedIn, so you can jump on there, or it'd be great to connect on whatever platform you choose. You'll find all the socials, and also there you can book a meeting if there's something that's been of interest. I'm happy to for people to book a meeting with me as well, and we can have a conversation and connect as humans.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So for those listening, all the links to Wes's LinkedIn and website and all his social media channels are gonna be there in the episode description. Go follow him. Go connect with him on LinkedIn and check his website. I'm sure some of the information or a lot of the information that's going to be there is going to be of use to you, particularly in the time of AI noise. That like going back to authenticity and like human branding is going to be essential for you to find your focus amongst the noise and the chaos. Wes, appreciate your time. Appreciate all the lessons you have shared with us today. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks so much.